Okay, welcome back to another episode of Banking Without Borders. Today we're doing a bit of an emergency update podcast / video because something monumental has happened. Revolut have finally received its full UK banking license, ending a 5-year process that started with a license application back in January 2021. And this marks a pretty major milestone because Revolut can now operate as a full UK licensed bank. They're no longer operating under their e-money institution license, and they can offer their customers deposit protection up to £120,000. This is huge. And in today's episode, we're going to go through the timeline. So we'll discuss why it took so long. We'll look at what will change for customers, including the products that could follow, and also what this means for Revolut. What could this mean in terms of the potential income, the greater income that they could earn? What could it mean for innovation at Revolut? There's a few really interesting things to discuss around that. But first, Jan, why don't we just talk about the timeline? So can we go back to when they first applied for the license?
Yeah, Johnny, you just mentioned it was a 5-year process. I'd say it was a 5-year battle. Yeah, such a long amount of time since they first went ahead and applied for the banking license, which they did in January 2021. And then it took 3.5 years until July 2024 until regulators granted them a preliminary banking license, which basically gave them the opportunity to act as a bank, but with certain restrictions. So they entered a mobilization phase. They were restricted in many different things. As an example, customers were only able to hold up to £50,000 in deposits with them. That mobilization phase, the FCA claims that typically takes just under 12 months. It's been almost 2 years for Revolut. So this was a lengthy process. And now in March 2026, they're finally approved. They're a fully regulated bank. If you refer to Revolut as a neobank, it's correct. You can do that now. So you weren't able to do that before, and that's fascinating. So I'm asking myself, why did that take so long? Is that a thing in the UK? Is that do you guys love compliance? I don't know. Why did it take so long? What was the issue?
It is. I mean, the whole thing is comically British. Yeah, things take a long time. There's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of red tape, and there's also a lot of cup of teas being made, I imagine, at the FCA and the PRA. It is comically British, but ultimately Revolut is a huge entity. If we go back to 2021, they possibly had 10 million customers back then. I'm not sure, but what I do know is that they were already very well established. But the likes of Starling Bank, Monzo, Crew, these organizations, when they applied for their banking licenses, and they were small, they were tiny. They probably didn't even have a debit card at the time. So they got their license, and then they started to scale. Well, in true Revolut fashion, they did it the complete opposite way. And that would have massively impacted the length of time this took. The regulators would have been looking at Revolut's entire global business and seeing how well insulated the UK entity is from Europe or Asia or North America. And that would have definitely taken time to study that and to decide whether or not it was safe. Ultimately, the more customers you have, the harder you'll fall. And so, now they have 70 million customers, obviously, 12 to 13, I believe, in the UK, but obviously, the FCA, PRA, the UK regulators had to be certain that, this was a safer company to offer deposit, because they're offering deposit protection, right, buddy? So if they fail, an interesting statistic, I think it is how much do Revolut's customers currently hold in their deposits on average?
I think it was £575, which is really not much for such a large entity.
So if they did fail, at least it wouldn't cost the FCA or the PRA or the UK government, whoever pays out too much money right now. But that will change. That will certainly change, because I imagine, and this is a good opportunity to ask the people who are listening or watching this, I imagine having FSCS protection, having a full UK banking license will encourage people to deposit more money with Revolut.
I think it certainly will.
Something interesting was actually Nikolai Storonsky's statement. And Jan, I'm going to read this to you.
Go ahead.
Because it sounds almost like this is the beginning of this organization. Like this is the first day of Revolut, so to speak. Launching our UK bank has been a long-term strategic priority for Revolut and marks a significant moment in our journey. The UK is our home market and central to our growth. It sort of sounds like it, doesn't it? Like they're starting for the first time.
Yeah, launching a UK bank. Fascinating. They've been on the market for how long? It's been decade. No, it's been over a decade, right? It's been
probably.
I think 12 years.
Yeah, they've been operating for a long time, but ultimately this license has been pending since 2021, and here we are. And what changes? I mean, we've already mentioned the deposit protection, right? That's a big one that will probably encourage people to deposit more money with Revolut.
Yeah, I think from a product perspective, this can turn really, really interesting for UK consumers. So you've seen it in other markets where Revolut is already licensed, several EU markets. You can get things like credit cards, you can get personal loans, you can access overdraft. So this definitely opens the door for more exciting traditional banking products in the future. You could also probably expect greater interest rates, because what Revolut can now do is they can go ahead and basically loan out customer deposits, which is something they weren't able to do before. That could potentially lead to greater interest rates.
Potentially. It's not typical of banks to offer greater savings rates than they do on the interest on their loans. But yeah, that's something called net interest margin, the amount of money that Revolut will be able to make on lending versus saving. And I think there's something to be said about Revolut, because they are aggressive with their marketing. They are looking to entice deposits and compel people to use their services. And I think they will be open to offering greater interest rates, Jan. Of course, people should check depositscout.com for the latest and greatest savings rates that are available right now. I know I'm plugging our website, but that is always true. But I do think Revolut will be potentially offering better savings rates as a result of this license. I should hope so, because they have traditionally not been that good unless you sign up for, say, Metal or Ultra to get access to the really good rates. I should probably mention at this point as well, Jan, it is possible right now without this license to get FSCS protection on savings accounts with Revolut, because they offer them through partner banks like Flagstone. But what this deposit protection means is you'll also get it on current account balances, which, I think that's an important thing to clarify. But in terms of the products, Jan is absolutely right. This will open up the potential for overdrafts, credit cards, even mortgages, mate. That could be something in the future. I think Revolut are looking to do mortgages here in the UK. They hired Francesca Carlisi as their UK CEO. Francesca actually founded a digital mortgage platform. And I do think part of that hire was to eventually digitize mortgages at Revolut, but that's probably a long way away for now. But do you think this will disrupt the sector further, Jan? And do you think you can see greater innovation at Revolut as a result of this?
I think absolutely. So this definitely has freed up some mental capacity, I assume, within the team. So they're gonna start innovating. One thing we've seen from Revolut in the past, everything they do somewhat well, right? If you use the app, it's super seamless. It's great. If you want to purchase an eSIM through Revolut, it's very easy to do so. It's probably easier than with other providers. If you want to go ahead and deactivate a card or so, it's all really, really seamless. If you want to purchase stocks, it's seamless. So I guess accessing mortgages, that's going to be very, very seamless as well. There's going to be a short approval process. It's going to be fully digital, and that's something that UK consumers can be excited about.
I'm excited about this. Honestly, when I saw the news, truth be told, I've literally just finished a video about where is Revolut's UK banking license. That one's going in the bin. I'm so excited about this, particularly like Jan just mentioned, like newer, fresher products that could come. Personally, I'd be quite excited about a Revolut credit card with accelerated rev points earnings. That could be really interesting, particularly for Ultra customers. If you're an Ultra customer here in the UK, you might be able to get access to a credit card that earns 1.5 points per pound. They have the equivalent of that in Ireland for euros. That could be really exciting for you guys. But look, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, let us know what you could be excited about. And I'd be curious, Jan, to hear from anyone that, anyone's view on whether or not this gives them a more positive feeling towards depositing money with Revolut. Would this encourage you now to deposit greater money? Because like Jan said, I think that was, £565 is the average balance?
I think 575, yeah. But that would be interesting. Really, really curious what people think about that. Maybe a final question. So there's a drop in compliance effort, I assume, within the team. Do you think that will free up capacities for them to IPO maybe sooner than later?
Oh, well, that is a really good question. I think this will certainly help the IPO. I don't know whether it will speed up the process. I mean, does it increase Revolut's value or perceived value to shareholders,
100%.
Potential shareholders?
100%.
I think so. Right? Does this, did this come with a little bit of a backhand approach from the UK government saying, look, or to be fair, the FCA and the PRA are certainly not talking to the UK government about this, but there's been a lot of question about whether or not Revolut will IPO in the UK or on the US markets.
they'll do that certainly in the US. That's where the money is for fintech companies, right? That's where the money is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You've seen it with Wise. I think they IPO'd on the London Stock Exchange. Didn't go so well, did it?
I think your point about IPO is really interesting, and I think this will increase the perceived value of Revolut. It will ultimately give Revolut just greater authority. It strengthens their credibility as a global bank rather than just like a fintech e-money app here in the UK. Okay, thanks everybody. That's all there is from us today. We hope you enjoyed the video. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Give us a like on YouTube if you're watching there, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks everyone.
Goodbye.